road. It needs to be environmentally feasible. How do you do that? You harness energy. For instance, whenever you harness, you use solar energy, you're not burning any diesel, so you're keeping the environment clean and you're gaining carbon credits. Whenever you decide to actually harvest water, you actually are easing the vulnerability of global warming, and so you should gain in some kind of carbon credit. Whenever you go and forest an area which is deforested, like the way late Wangari Maathai did, then again, you are doing some work that is good for the environment, that is measurable and credible. These things are the ones that you build the future of Kenya.
Okay, now, we still face some challenges, from the industrialized and corporate fraternity who do not or have not bought into the impact of course, poor corporate habits and how they translate to it. So how exactly do you go about that? It's
a catch-22 here, because the more we don't let our masses understand, the more the same corporate polluters will keep on running away with it. For instance, right now, you find that some of the monies coming in to help Kenya in the same lines are coming with the same donors, and they're eaten by the same donors. We must get to a point where we teach our communities how to deal with the environment. For instance, every time we do something that you change the environment on a positive manner, the community needs to understand what is in it for them, and they need to be part and parcel of the stakeholders. That has never been like that. What happens is that we come in, we give you some fertilizer, and then we come in and reap all the carbon credits, and you just get the fertilizer, but you never get to know beyond that. Or you find programs that come in and do your biogas plant, and then you are left with your biogas, but you never know what's going to happen after that. Or you find, like now, Nyeri has been passed by Kenyan government to actually convert all the kerosene lamps and replace them with solar energy lamps. Now, that's a big project, and it's a Kyoto project, because you are counting or the avoidance of all this pollution that was otherwise going to come out of burning kerosene. And now what you're doing is you're replacing all that with clean energy, which is solar. And there's a lot of solar energy in Nyeri anyway. So you find that there are so many things that needs to be done. But on the other side, you find that there's a lot of politics, big international politics on carbon credits. Some nations want to make it a tax, which is already, Australia has already done it. Some nations want to make it voluntary. Some nations want to actually have very serious registrations, like the EU, the European Union. If you pollute in the European Union, you must pay, you must clean. Even Kenya Airways, when it goes to the European airspace, they must pay for all the pollution that they leave out there. That gives us a good chance to actually clear the carbon credits, then sell them to, like, our national carrier, so they don't have to go there and leave money or go and buy carbon credits from India because there was none in Kenya. We need to be the ones to create the carbon credits, and then the forums of sales would include Kenya Airways and all those other airlines that tie with it.
Okay. Now let's take a look at you. How many years have you taken up in publicizing carbon credits?
It's a hard thing, Remy, because I sometimes do it with our own resources. It's something that's been going so slow, but I think it's catching momentum now because it's looking completely impossible to do things otherwise. But I'm a trained aviator, and I'm also a trained air science technologist. And so these are areas now that are catching up very quickly as communities understand that there's a lot of value, a lot of tangible wealth in the environment that they need to now harness. But before you can harness it, you must be able to put it as a project. You must be able to show how you're going to measure it. Then you must be able to create a market where you're going to take it. And these are the things that we are able to do.
Okay, then. Now, you're running for senator,
yes,
right, for Nyeri County.
Yes.
How are you merging your vision for senator with that of course, whatever you're already doing right now, the one for carbon credits?
I think what happened for Nyeri is that Nyeri is lucky. I would say that because all these things happen at the same time. I am running for the Senate. The environment is the top deal right here. And again, we have projects already written. I wrote projects for Nyeri so that I could teach, because I taught a lot of this government on how to actually get to the point where they can trade activities in, and initiatives in an environment. And so I used Nyeri, and I did. All the work I've done in Nyeri was pro bono, was for free. I just sit down. But I want to thank the people of Nyeri because they've also given me a lot of data. Now, I think this is the right time to measure development based on environmental economics, and also to measure technology flow based on environmental technology transfer. There's a lot of, for you to actually create a carbon credit, you actually do need to show what kind of technology are you turning into them. What kind of community benefits are you putting into this community? And I believe it's going to be serious community benefits. I'll give you a few. We will convert coffee. And when you convert coffee from the regular coffee it is, it will become organic coffee. When it is organic coffee, well, the farmers of Nyeri automatically are now talking about 500 shillings per kilogram of coffee. And right now it's 40 shillings and all that. And 500 shillings will be the bottom line going up. You're talking about value addition, because you can't take this coffee that's now organic and sell it in bags. You have to process it fully. So you're talking about job creation. You probably would even create jobs up to the cap. And that's one of the things we want to do in Nyeri. Then the other thing is, if you look at things like changing, removing kerosene completely, you're creating a new, good, healthy people. Imagine how bad the fumes of kerosene are at night when you've closed all the doors, and you know those houses are not with good ventilation. So this is now going to be changing all those chest problems within Nyeri people. That's going to be going. You're looking at creating jobs. And then there's something that's very, very unusual that's going to be happening in Nyeri. Once we avoid using bad fertilizers that like NPK, DAP, and CAN, then our water will not be polluted by nitrates, and we can bottle our water as mineral water to sell to the rest of the world. This is something, a commodity that's very, very lacking. Good water is lacking. In fact, you go to some places and water is completely a dream. Okay. Now, every valley in Nyeri has water. The only problem is that this water is not very clean because it has a lot of nitrates because of fertilizers. As we avoid it, now Nyeri becomes one of the, in fact, instead of having oil in Nyeri, I'd rather we keep the water we have, just make it clean and make a lot of money out of it.
Okay then, okay, let's take a look at this aspect. You know, is this an African problem, or are we being dragged? Let's go back to carbon credits rather. You know, is this an African problem, or has the African community, continent been pulled into the developed countries' fights? Actually,
it should be a healing on our side, because the developed countries have already put their industries in position, and we can't tell them to stop their industries because that will retard the development of the earth. So what will happen is this: the developed countries would be the ones to spend a lot of money cleaning all the environmental pollution that they are doing by actually creating clean development projects here in Kenya. And I think this is awesome, that we are able to actually talk to communities about these things, where we tell the communities that they are involved in it and they will gain as individuals. See, that's very, very different. You realize that a lot of NGOs come in, do some of these things, but no money trickles down to that mama, that papa, that young man. Now, this is a time to actually tie the whole thing. And as a county, one of the things that we're trying to actually teach the county is how the county can put its foot into it. And what that means is this: the county becomes also a player, so that even before we go to the markets, in national markets and all that, the county, first of all, creates a log of the carbon credit, and also creates a log of the benefits that are reaching there, how they are affecting the communities. Also creates a log of what kind of monies that are getting to the individuals, and also what kind of trust funds are being set up with this money. Because let me tell you this, Ms. Remy, actually 1 acre of land in Nyeri, our expectation is that 1 acre of land in Nyeri shall be bringing to the individual owner, the farmer, at least 10,000 Kenya shillings per month for a period of about 60 years. That's a very long program, and those are a lot of acres, and that's a lot of money. And all it requires is a sharp senator, and we also do need some very gorgeous, brilliant, governors that can be able to run this money. But as far as the bringing the money is concerned, that's the work of the senator, and I intend to do it and do it very well.
Okay, then. Well said, aspiring senator of Nyeri County. Yes. Now, in the rural areas, for example, if I was in the rural areas right now, the only thing I would be noticing is the difference in weather patterns. Yeah. Tell me why I should care about this at my level, carbon credits.
Actually, I love the way you've asked it. In the rural areas, all you're seeing is when you used to plant, there is no rain now, you can't plant, and then you wonder what you're going to do. When you bring in the elements of change in fertilizer that is measurable, what happens is that you're able then to create indices of production. For instance, how much would one tree of coffee produce per year using good fertilizer that is actually part of the climate change or part of the climate smart agriculture. Now you come up and see if this tree can produce up to 40. Before, right now, they're producing 2 kilos and 3 kilos. If the tree can produce up to 40, then you can create a benchmark, a baseline, and say the tree will be insured up to 20 kilograms. So now you find that if the weather patterns change, the farmer doesn't lose. He is paid up to 20. If, for instance, the tree does up to 40 kilograms, then the insurance is, well, no problem. The farmer is paid up to 40 kilograms per tree. But if there is, let's say, a storm, a tornado or anything, a storm, a hail that comes in and spoils the crop, the farmer still gets paid. Those are some of the elements that come in when you use carbon credits for community benefits. One of the things that will happen is, out of carbon credits, you should seize enough money out of the carbon credit to create risk management programs so that you can even risk manage the banks that are giving money to the farmer for him to produce. You should also be able to put some money to develop infrastructure using the carbon credit. And then the farmers are also able to use some of this money from sources like the Adaptation Fund. Because the Adaptation Fund actually is a fund that is made up of monies that are assessed from carbon trading. Whenever you sell carbon, that transaction is assessed 2%. That 2% accumulates into what is the adaptation fund. Okay. And now, because now Kenya has done all the necessary requirements, now Nyeri probably will be the very first place to actually put its hands out and get to the coffers and put it in. And when we find it is working, then the rest of the country can actually keep on doing it. So Nyeri is only literally being the place where we test. And then after that, we open out to the rest of the counties. So okay, I think it's going to be interesting. Okay,
then thank you so much, sir, for coming in today and, of course, giving us this brief about, of course, carbon credits and, of course, your bid as the senator and how you definitely want to merge your vision with that of, already what you're doing, the carbon credits thing. So thank you so much for coming in today.
I sure appreciate it, Remy. And to everybody who is watching me in Nyeri, this is your upcoming senator. I hope that you are planning to actually pick all these gains for Nyeri, and that we shall be able to be the guide to the rest of the country on how we can be able to develop this country using environment and other instruments that are modern instruments. I also hope that Nyeri will be the entry point to a lot of technologies, solar technologies, methane capture or biogas technologies, and other beautiful technologies that will be coming in. I look forward to being your senator, and I hope that you shall be voting for me en masse. Thank you kindly. Thank you, thank you.
Well, I wish you all the best, Job, in whatever you're doing. And of course, come March 4th, all the best.
Come March 4th, I hope, Remy, we can invite you to Nyeri and you can come over there and share in some. I believe that Nyeri is just simply blessed at this point in time, because these are things coming at the right time. We have no industries in Nyeri. That it becomes again, because the industries we all be green industrial schemes. We have not used our water wisely.
Okay, then thank you. Okay, then, Captain, thank you so much because of time. Thank you for that and all the best. Well, you've been watching the magazine segment and we've been talking about carbon credits. And our guest, of course, today is the Captain Job Kareithi, aspiring senator for Nyeri County. And of course, we'll be back shortly with other interviews and, of course, other live, broadcasted throughout the day. So please do stay tuned. I'm Remy Majala.